Hi, everybody. Welcome to Dive Deep. I'm Shelby Cornett. I'm the ministry assistant at Cambridge City Christian Church, and I'm with Danny, lead pastor.
Yep. Last time I checked, I still was.
Yep,
I
for
need to
now.
talk to the elders
He
on
doesn't know
Sunday.
yet.
What? Wait. You know something?
Maybe.
What? So you're going to tell me this
the-
on a podcast? How brutal is that?
Yeah.
Good night. That would be awful.
That would be such
would
a
be
bad
pretty
way to be
bad.
fired.
By the way, we're about to do a podcast, but just so you know, you've been relieved of your job. Well, okay. Wow.
But you have to finish the podcast.
Wow, Shelby, you know how to really take this podcast to new levels, don't you?
I know. Ruin the mood before we even get started.
Yeah, now I'm going to be all like the whole time, like in the back of my head, like, is there what? What is
Like,
something?
what did I do?
Yeah, like, and like, when are they going to tell me this? And
You're being forced into retirement.
sent out to pasture.
Yeah.
Okay, well, okay.
All
Guess
right.
it comes for everybody at some point. Just didn't think it'd be when I was 43 years old, but okay.
No, not yet.
All right.
But anyways, this weekend we started a new series called The Things Jesus Never Said.
Yeah. Things Jesus never said.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things Jesus, I'm sure, never
Yeah.
said.
I like the promo. It made me think of like hashtag YOLO, like all that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, yeah. You only live once.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. But this week we talked about doing things that make us happy.
Doing things that make us happy.
Je-
Yeah.
Jesus never said, go do what makes you happy.
Mhm.
Right?
You know what would make Travis really happy right now, I think?
Me quitting.
Wow. Well, I was going to say, get closer to your microphone. That might.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah,
I just.
we just talked about this. Yeah.
For the record, I have never wanted Shelby to quit.
All right. Yeah.
I'll talk into my microphone.
Which Shelby's in rare form. She's saying that I'm going to be gone, and now you're trying to claim he is trying.
Trying to get me fired.
I'm trying to figure out the end game to all of this. What's the end game to this strategy?
I don't even know. I
Okay,
don't
it's
know.
just
I'm too tired to think
that's
about
right.
that.
Yeah, Jackson's been sick again.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, we all have.
I'm
bad
just
days.
letting it flow. I
Okay.
have no filter.
All right.
That could
Okay.
be bad.
All right.
Things Jesus never said.
The things Jesus never
That's right.
said.
That he's going to fire Travis or yourself or whatever. Yeah. Mhm.
Jesus never said that I should quit my job because Travis wants me to.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But something
Right.
Jesus actually never said was do what makes you happy.
Do what makes you happy. Yeah.
And I'm going to talk closer to my microphone.
There
I
you
keep
go.
forgetting to do that. Okay.
Mhm.
So the first thing I wrote about this week's sermon
Mhm.
was so the men who brought the woman to Jesus.
Yeah. The Pharisees. Mhm.
Yeah, who was she had cheated, right? And adultery.
She committed adultery. Yes.
Adultery,
Mhm.
yes.
Mhm.
My first thought was, how dare they do that? I
Yeah.
literally wrote, how dare they?
Mhm.
Because that is
Mhm.
awful. That is so bad.
Mhm.
But then, like, was that a common thing then?
Yeah, it really it was. Now I will say this: by the time of Jesus' time,
Mm-hmm.
from things I remember reading years ago, so you might not want to hold me to full account for this, but it wasn't as common as it was in earlier times, like
Mhm.
maybe during the time of Moses or David or Solomon. So it wasn't common to bring someone out to stone him. Now it was common to bring him out to humiliate him or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But in this moment, it wasn't just about humiliation. They were using her to try to trick Jesus. So she was a pawn. So there was really no desire to correct the behavior that she was involved in. It was about trying to use her to get at him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if this might be in your notes, but so I might be getting ahead of myself. Where's the guy at in all this?
I didn't write that down, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it just shows you how screwed up things were.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was bad enough that you would do this in a humiliating way. I mean, obviously she had sinned. I mean,
Mhm.
Jesus didn't even. Jesus at the end of the incident says, "Go and sin no more."
Mm-hmm.
I'm not condemning you now. Go and sin no more. Well, she had sinned, but the way they did it was way wrong and
Mhm.
humiliating. But yeah, where's the guy? Because it takes two to tango, right?
Right.
So that's the part of the story that's often bothered me, and I know it and a lot of other people, because I
Mhm.
know several people came up to me Sunday and brought up that point, like, where was the guy at? Why didn't they
Yeah.
bring him out? And it was just because women weren't as respected.
And I got the feeling like the Pharisees that brought the woman, I know they were trying to like test Jesus to
Mhm.
see what he would say, but
Yeah.
that makes them look really bad. Like that's, in my opinion.
Well, but you got to look at it in their eyes, or in their vantage point, viewpoint.
Mhm.
You know, these men were upholders of the law of Moses, the Old
Mhm.
Testament, which spoke about punishing those who had committed adultery, stoning
Right.
them. So in their view, they thought maybe they were doing the right thing before God.
Okay.
Okay, we're following the law.
Hmm.
And that was a predicament that Jesus was in. It was like, okay, here's Jesus, the Son of God, he's claiming to be,
Mhm.
right? He's a great teacher. Even if they didn't accept that he was the Messiah or the Son of God, he was a rabbi, so he should have great respect for the law of God.
Yeah.
And so they were putting him in this catch-22 where, on the one hand, he had been talking about grace and forgiving,
Hmm.
but yet now here's this woman who's committed this sin that, according to the Old Testament law, she should be stoned for.
Hmm.
So they were trying to get him in a place where he was going to be wrong either way. If he didn't show grace, and he was kind of breaking his own word.
Hmm.
If he didn't show judgment, he was breaking the law of Moses. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Mhm.
no matter what he did would be
Yeah. Or at least it seemed that way.
Yeah.
It seemed that they caught him.
right.
But
I kept thinking, like, can you imagine if that was how it was now?
Hmm.
Like they put you on a street corner or something and just
well, there's places still like that.
really?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, you go over. There was incidents back. Remember, I don't know if you remember after the Gulf War, here in the early 2000s, when the U.S. was occupying. Remember, ISIS was really
Mhm.
big over there here about 5 or 6, 7 years ago, and there were videos circulating online of people being executed for, adultery,
Mhm.
homosexuality. I mean, all kinds of things. It was just awful, and so people still do that today.
That's awful.
It is, a sin is a sin, no doubt, but thankfully it's about grace,
Mhm.
and that's what God's about. Is
We kind of talked about that the other day, just in the office, a conversation about how like we've made some sins super sins.
yeah,
When sin is sin, I feel
yeah,
like
yeah. We do. We grade sins,
Mhm.
and it's funny, from generation to generation, those grades change.
Yeah.
So some sins that today are like not really thought that bad of,
Mhm.
200 years ago were like, and then vice versa. Some of the ones that were like, 200 years ago are now, oh, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But it's still a sin.
Right.
But we tend to be kind of subjective with our sins, and
Yeah.
yeah.
I kind of tell myself that every now and then, like a sin is a sin, like
Mm-hmm.
to not glorify one or
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
Or dwell on one. Yeah.
yeah.
Because we all pick our favorite
Uh-huh.
sins. And let me ask you, I know this is your podcast, but I'm going to ask
Yeah.
you this question.
Okay.
Usually you're supposed to ask the questions, but do you dwell on the sins that you commit yourself?
I think so.
Do
Like
you?
I think
I think most people don't.
like
Like, usually you don't dwell on it because you know that you're
No.
a sinner yourself with
no,
that.
I
so you
should
don't.
reverse that.
Okay.
Like the ones I commit, I feel like are like, oh,
Not a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
but
what I meant,
somebody
yeah.
else does something. What is it? Legalism. I know.
It,
But like when I see something else happen, like somebody commits a super sin, I'm like,
Mhm.
oh my goodness,
Yeah.
that's awful. But like, don't
but
think
that's
about
exactly
mine.
what happened in this story, right?
Yeah.
Like, these guys had decided for whatever reason that their own sins weren't as bad as this lady's sin.
Right.
And then Jesus, what did he do? He started writing in the sand, and
Hmm.
it would have been neat to be there and
They
see.
got owned by Jesus.
They got they got owned. I
Yeah.
like that. I never heard said that way about Jesus. Yeah,
He said,
owned
check
them.
yourself before you wreck yourself.
Check yourself. That would be a good sermon for
Things-
things Jesus never said, right
Yeah.
there. All right, we'll add a week on to this series, and we'll do that.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself. That's what he said to the Pharisees in my mind.
Okay. Too bad that wasn't in the Bible.
I know.
That would have been pretty cool, though, if it was.
If I would have
but it
written
wasn't,
that chapter,
because that's something Jesus would never say. But yeah,
he said it in his own words.
okay. You're translating for
That's
him.
what he wrote in the sand.
Oh, that's what he wrote in the sand. Okay, now
Check yourself.
now see now if you say that, I can't argue with that much because
You
the
weren't
problem is
there.
we don't know exactly what he wrote.
Yeah.
I mean, the Greek does say that if you look deeper in the language, it says that he spoke against them when he wrote.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
But what he spoke against, who knows? But
Right.
yeah. So, okay. So you have your interpretation. You think it was, say that again,
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
and I think it was just their sins.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it to the audience to decide which one was.
So you can vote down below. What do you think?
We're going to have a vote. Okay.
What
We're
you
going to
think
vote about
Jesus
what the
wrote?
Bible said. Okay. Boy, Shelby, you're really on
We're just gonna write it in.
you're on a roll today.
I know.
All right. You've got it
I
going
have
on.
all these thoughts.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna move on. My next thing I wrote was instead of saying do what makes you happy, could we say be happy serving God and others?
Yeah, yeah. We want to be happy with what God is happy with because that's how we really find happiness. A lot of the things that we chase after that we think are going to make us happy, what ends up happening? They're gone.
Right.
Like when, let's say I make a lot of money and I'm a popular celebrity and, I'm, well known and I've done amazing things. The problem with that's good, I guess, to some degree in the world's eyes. But the problem is when I'm dead, okay, what good's it now?
Right.
But serving God and loving people, those are principles that God has created that go beyond our own lives. So
That made me think. I saw like a meme or something on Facebook where it was like rich people and poor people like comparing how they live, but then it showed like when they die, it showed like holes in the ground,
yeah,
and they're like the same.
The grave is the great the great equalizer, right?
Yeah.
It just and
I thought just be a good person.
yeah, and love God and love people more and more. I mean, that's what it's
Yeah.
all about.
Yeah.
That's really
And
what
it's like
about.
I thought we don't have to be happy about. Cause you talked about how some sins seem like they'd be fun, like, and when we decide to do that, it may not be fun for us, but it can make us happy knowing that we're doing what God wants us to
Yeah,
do.
yeah, because it's about pleasing Him.
So we're still doing what makes us happy
yeah,
in a different way.
yeah, and one of the things I mentioned in the message, I might be getting ahead of your notes.
Oh,
but
that was my last note.
Oh, that was
so-
your okay. Whew, good. Okay. So if you remember, toward the end, I was talking about how what we tend to do is we elevate Earth, and we replace the elevated good things of Earth. We replace it from heaven. So I challenge everyone to think less of Earth and more of heaven.
Right.
But the problem is we usually do it the other way around. If I get more money, if I get more wealth, or if I do this, that, or the other, I will be happier. Those things are not, in the end, going to bring you happiness. It's the joy of heaven. So that is a challenge for us. It's hard to do that, to be living in that way. But
It is. It's easy to focus on now,
yeah.
even though it's in the future. Like things, even we want in the future, it's still now.
Yeah. It's obviously, like a lot of things in the Bible, it's an easier said than done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what was it? Our life group did the storing up treasures in heaven. Like we did a workbook about that.
Yeah.
And like all of them kind of connect. Like I'm thinking of all these things that connect.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, that is something that I think through the years I've made the mistake, and I've heard other people say, you need to just go and do what makes you happy, and it's some of the things that make you happy aren't.
I know
godly
I've
things.
even said that. to
Yeah,
people.
I've said it too.
And
mean,
I've said you do you. Like,
Yeah.
No, don't. But then after, like, I think about it, I'm like, no, that's not how it works.
yeah, that would be another thing Jesus never said.
Yeah, you do you.
Yeah. because it's all about becoming more and more like Christ.
Right.
That's what it should be about.
Mhm.
But a lot of times it's not.
Right.
Because our sinful nature that we all have gets in the way, and we're selfish, and we want to get ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, was there anything else that you didn't talk about Sunday?
No, it was a neat. This is a neat series. I mean,
Mhm.
it's coming off the Nehemiah series. This one's kind of a little more. I don't want to say it's lighthearted. It's just kind of funny, things Jesus never said. But
Yeah.
but really, the topics are very important because we do as Christians catch ourselves saying things that are just not biblical.
Yeah.
I know this coming week we're going to talk about how you'll never have any bad days. I've heard people say that if you follow Jesus, bad days will not. Well, that's just not true. And Jesus never said that. Actually, Jesus said the opposite on many occasions. So
Yeah.
we're going to talk about that this week.
Yeah. It's
This
exciting.
coming week, and then we're going to do a movie series here in a few weeks.
Yeah. And we're going to have movie nights.
Movie nights, outdoor
Yeah.
movie nights.
I'm
Yeah.
excited about
Yeah.
that. You guys should see the screen.
Yeah. I think I might have messed up on that one.
It's huge.
It's a little bigger than I thought it would be. Yeah. We're going to try to test that thing out here soon because, yeah. Let's just say that if I put that I put that screen up outside and a good breeze came through, it'd probably carry me all the way to Indy or something because it's
It's
pretty
so
big.
big.
It's pretty big.
So, anyways, with that being said, let us know if you have any questions, and we'll see you guys next week as we continue this series.